New way of making your applications user interface and connecting them together. In some of the templates, that option is available. So if I was to say File, New Project, the master detail application has that option. See right here, Storyboards. And in the previous tutorial, when I explored all these templates, I present that master detail has a lot of options in it. For example, support for universal, storyboards, core data, that's almost everything. So I use this template. So if you check use storyboards option, then all the plumbing for the storyboard will be in your application. And then you click next, of course, and I have already done that. And I have made a project called MD2 test, master detail 2 test. In it, there's a file with a storyboard extension. Since I selected a universal application, there's one storyboard for iPhone and one for iPad. That's why I have two storyboards in there. Now let's get used to this storyboard and see what different components are, different pieces are in there. Now once you click on a storyboard, it shows up in here in your editing area. Here you see all the list of, and you can hide this by clicking this button. In storyboards there are two things: scenes and segues. Now scenes are listed here. If you have, like I have 3 scenes right there, and they are also listed here. So you can select one scene. So you see if I selected how this and this changes. If I select over here, this changes. So you can either select a certain scene by using the clicking on it here, or clicking on it either here. You see, clicking here isn't going to do anything. It's here, here. You see how now that one's changing. So you can select a scene from either here or clicking the top part here. Now there's a hierarchy in here as well. You have your detail view controller, and it has a view. See how when I click on it, it made it big, enlarged it, and selected the view. If I click on a label, you see the label became selected. So there's a hierarchy here. There are constraints. I could actually select here. You see how this bit. So you can either select it here or here. Actually, this one makes it real easy. Now this text editing area, you see it's too big. Either I can scroll by dragging this part at the bottom. I can scroll up and down using this system. Now I can, yeah, there's a little minus sign right there. I could click it. So that's one way to enlarge or shrink this area. You see how, I can use the pinch gesture on my trackpad. Or you can just simply click, double click your canvas. Just double click enlarge, double click small. Well, plus will actually make it a little bit bigger in several stages. In the text area, when things are this big, you see a little operation going on down there. This is the view controller, and this is the first responder. See, when I click here, you can either also select it from here. When I click it over here, so that's, you can either just ignore this one and just you want to work with the first responder in a scene, you can use this. the view selected, so either here or there. We have is segue. Segue is in between two views. Like I click here. Now this one has two dots. There is nothing here. You see nothing here. I select our attribute inspector. I'm going to scroll a little bit to the right. Now this one, you see how this one has a little different shape. If I click here, I've selected a segue. So you can either select your segue right here with that little arrow sign, or you can select your segue here. Now once you select it and you select your attributes inspector, you have the identifier or the style of the segue. Either it's push, modal, or custom. What each one of these do, it'll come from experience, we'll see. And this one is push type, even it says it over here. If I change it to modal, see it changes it over there. Style was push. So that's how we work with main things going on in our storyboard. In order to create a new scene, basically I'm gonna make it small. I take a view controller and drag it here and let go. Now I can give it a title. You see how it's been added here. I don't have a first responder yet. All I have is a view. I'm trying to create a storyboard. So that's step number one in creating a new one. Of course, next we'll need a segue, and we'll need to have a view controller and other things associated with this scene. Now let's look at the application so far. Run. I click here, I go to the details screen. I want to put a button here. Extend this application using storyboarding, and it'll go to another screen. That screen will have a button. When I click on it, it'll come back to this screen. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to double click it and see that I have three views. I clicked here and I went over there. Step number one is to drag a view controller onto the screen, and then I got to move it around to fit it in. Now I'm going to drag a button. For that, you got to double click it, make it a little bit bigger. You see how when it was zoomed out, it didn't allow me to do that. Over here I want to create a button a little bit down there. Now I'm going to connect them with a segue. This button here and this button that way. I'm going to control, click and drag. It'll ask what kind of a segue action you want. Let's go with push for right now. I'm going to hold down control, click and drag this way. Which kind of button? Push. Create another screen. It's ugly, but it's going somewhere around on the other side. Getting ugly. But there's gotta be a way to clean it up. I'll come to it later. Now I'm gonna run this program, and I click here. I go. This is the button. I'm gonna click here. It goes to the other screen, right? The fourth one at the end, right here. Click here. Comes back to this one. So as simple as that, without doing any programming, I'm going from one view to another. Very nice so far for creating static applications. Now let's do it. Let me show you another way of creating segues in views. I'm gonna click here, and I just clicked on it and delete those segues. I'm gonna zoom in. Click here to get rid of that screen right there. Hide that, I don't need it so far. I'm gonna control right click. Let go of the control and everything, it'll keep. Now left click, drag and push modal. It's been connected. Hold on the control button, right click, drag from there onto this side, push type, again create all that button, but it did connect it. This button goes there, click that button, come back. So there was another way of connecting buttons, creating segues. The next operation is to connect this scene to a UI view controller. Now this scene is similar to a nib file that we have been working on. Each nib file has a UI view controller, and as you saw before, either I create a class of UI view controller and at that point I check the box to create an associated nib file, and everything is done. Now if I already have the nib file, then I have to create a UI view controller without the nib file, go back to the nib file and connect it. So we have a scene, a nib file. We're going to create a UI view controller, a class that inherits from UI view controller and connect it. And that's really simple. So I want that navigation controller back. I'm gonna control click here, or just right click, new file, Cocoa Touch, Objective-C class, next. Let's call it view 1, view 4, actually there was a view 4. Targeted for iPad, no, not right now. Now that's another, just keep in the back of your mind. For the iPhone we'll have to create one, then I have to come back here, another call, maybe call it view 4 underscore iPhone, and uncheck it, create next file. Now I'm going to have to repeat this process. Next time it'll be view 4 underscore iPad, one at a time. So iPhone, subclass of UI view controller, and next. Now I have that class. I'm going to go back to the nib file. I'm going to come back here. I am going to get my utility view back here. I am going to create this view. I think it's this one right here. No. Yeah, that one. And the view. Now I'm gonna find the way where I can connect it. I think it was this one right here. No, that didn't go right. Okay, that wasn't right. We don't want to do this on the view. We want to come over here, and I should have clicked here, and then in the custom class it said UI view controller. I changed it to view 4 underscore iPhone. So here, and here, view 4. Now it's connected. Now if I am too many views here, I'm gonna get rid of that. Get rid of if I did not have this and I was here and I clicked on associated editor, you see it opens up view 4 underscore iPhone, and there was the inherit from UI view controller, and this scene is now connected here. So I can write the code, so everything associated with this scene in here. So now I got a place to write my code in. That's probably most of the operations that you can do with the storyboard.